Hey everyone, it's Jessica Morgan with the City of Sweetwater, and I'm here with Jon Campbell, our city planner.
Hello.
Time to give you all a quarterly update. We had our Sampo meeting this morning, Sweetwater Merchants and Property Owners Association. All of this stuff was gone over in the Sampo meeting, and maybe a few more details in that meeting when you're here in person. Since this is going on the World Wide Web, we're a little more cautious about what we say.
Edited for content.
Edited for content, yes. So, Jon, kick us off with some commercial development updates.
Yeah, on the commercial side of things, there's not a whole lot of new things to bring out that we haven't already talked about in the last quarterly update, but I will kind of get everybody up to speed on some of those, plus any additional ones that may have added since then. But the big question that I get routinely that I've gotten over the past year is when is KFC coming? Nothing new to report there other than they still maintain that work will begin toward the end of this year and be wrapping up toward the middle of next year. So mid-2026 is their target date.
I'm going to get them taters.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get mashed potatoes. We'll get some biscuits and fried chicken this time next year. Keeping our fingers crossed on that one, but nothing new to report. They haven't applied for a building permit or anything of that nature, but they still have the target date for mid-2026. So keeping our fingers crossed on KFC. Another one that is in the works that I've had some calls on or questions on is the 68 Wine and Spirits, the new liquor store going in beside Scrubs on Highway 68. People have said, what's the deal there? We see the steel, but there's, it's kind of stopped. The owner there had some issues or some concerns with his concrete. He was getting that inspected by an engineer before he moved forward. Hopefully that's just some precautionary measures there and it doesn't end up, stalling that project out long term, but hopefully he'll be moving forward with that soon and getting that that project wrapped up. It's been going on for quite a while. Mm-hmm. There's no serious concerns as far as it not happening. It's just taking a little longer than what we'd hoped. So anyway, that one's still in the works, which brings me to the next one, the liquor store in Plaza 68 that's going in where the old Fast Pace was there near China East in Plaza 68. They basically have renovated that space to take out some of those rooms, and they've applied for their permits and all those things. They've also issued a sign permit to get signage up there. So they're moving forward. That'll be an addition there to the plaza.
That's quite a bit of square footage for a liquor store. I mean, it's pretty good size space.
It is. It'll be pretty good size.
Space.
It is two spaces within the plaza there. So yeah, that'll be a pretty good size addition to the plaza there with that liquor store. Rendezvous Campground out off of Murray's Chapel Road. That's another one of those projects that we've talked about multiple times over the last year or so. It has taken a lot longer than we anticipated. I think the owner, developer ran into some issues during excavation, some different things. So we have been in communication with him as recent as last week via email. He has assured us that he's got everything in order with his finances to begin to kind of move forward now within the next couple of weeks and get that project moving to where it can be finalized. There's still some things that need to be done out there, extending the sewer lines out there with utilities, paving. The roads within the campground would have to be paved. Mm-hmm. So that first phase, we're hoping that this time next year it will be completely done and open to campers. The Dollar General on North Main Street that had the fire damage that was torn down, they demolished it, took that building down. They have just applied for their new building permit. So you should start to see that structure going up, and I imagine it would go up pretty quickly. It'll be an exact replica of what was there. So the Historic Zoning Commission had to approve all of those plans, everything about that building in 2022 when it was first built. So the plans are to build it back exactly the same as it was before. So if folks have any questions on that's the plan, and certainly we'll hold the builders to that, so that historic zoning is everything's in compliance there. And that's just a good, I guess, a good segue into if you own a business or if you have plans to build within the historic zoning district, any construction that's done to the exterior of a building that can be seen it has to have approval by the Historic Zoning Commission first. You have to apply for a certificate of appropriateness, and then once they vote on that and approve that, then you can get your building permit and move forward. So that's just a good reminder to the businesses that may be in the Historic Zoning District. It has to pass them first. Let's see, what else? The old Dollar Tree building on Highway 68, that space is still for lease. The owner of that building is really hoping to get a long-term tenant there, probably chain type business, not necessarily just small town startup or mom and pop type deal. He's really looking for something more long-term lease there, but that building's still available. If anyone knows of any businesses that maybe could locate there or potentially interested in located there, then you could contact us here at City Hall. We could pass the owner's information along to you. On the industrial side of things, not a whole lot new to report other than some of those things that we've been talking about over the last year or two. The old flea market building that was converted into Hillcrest Trailers. They're doing very well out there. Business is going really well for them. The Glass Masters that was converted, the old Hall Salvage building that was converted into Glass Masters and zoned for industrial use, they're doing very well. And their plans, again, are for future expansion to build another building and expand that business. So those projects have been really good. One that is on the radar, been in touch with Aeroflex. They have plans for expansion as well. So they're going to expand and add on, build another building. That will be at their site off of Highway 322, just inside the industrial park there, across from Master Melt. So a lot of good things going on in the commercial and industrial side of things. And then on the residential end of things, again, it had slowed a little bit from where it was just crazy. Everybody was building and subdividing, and now it's come down to a little more steady. So everything's still trending as far as growth for Sweetwater. Everything looks really good. Our Planning Commission does a really good job, as always, to make sure that we're growing, but we're growing in such a way that we can sustain it. So that smart growth that we're really looking for. So on the planning side of things, everything's going well. Just got to get KFC in here to build us a building and get us some fried chicken.
Please
so
God.
yeah,
All right.
That's about it.
Okay, so this morning in our Sampo meeting, we talked about several things. We awarded 3 grants to some of our small businesses here in Sweetwater, totaling around $8,000. We also voted to fund the high school mascot uniform. So Sampo is going to be paying for a new mascot uniform at SHS. It's couple decades old from what we understand, so we're glad that we can help participate in that project. And just so you all know, those Sampo meetings are open to the public. Anyone can join. It's $50 a year. That goes to fund the festivals, Blooms, Bluegrass, and Barbecue, which we have coming up May 2nd and 3rd. Already booked on vendors. The only thing we're still taking on that is barbecue. So if anybody knows a barbecuer that wants to compete or sell to the public, they can make a fortune that day. So we still need people for that May 2nd and 3rd. Some of the other things Sampo talked about this morning in their meeting are a few of the projects that are going on in town. So Circle Park is just about done. Phase 1 is completed. Phase 2 will consist of kind of an entryway signage and some additional landscaping. We've planted 7 trees there thanks to a grant from Sweetwater Tree Board. Got that done just in time for Founders Day last Saturday, which was a great success. We got to see some people that haven't been to Sweetwater in a long time, and we were happy to greet them. And I think everybody really enjoyed it. We had a huge team of volunteers and staff and people that helped make that come together and officials. So we're proud of that. And then prom is tonight. So we were glad that Circle Park got done in time for prom. And you'll see phase 2 of that start after July. We also have a few other major city projects. The city pool, there's a chance it will be closed this summer because we will be under construction. So we are going to completely redo that pool. It's been really 50 years since we did any major renovations on it, and it is leaking water. And we have pieces of pool coming out throughout the season, and we always have to shut down for a few days and repair it. So we want to get that fixed and fixed correctly to where we don't have to worry about it again for 50 years. So we have a state LPRF grant for that, and we're excited to see that project go under. We still have the community center. That grant, we're well into the NEPA phase of that, which is a design phase. And we've got some police grants, multimodal grant for a sidewalk going down Main Street. Landon Purdy applied for and was awarded a cybersecurity grant that'll help buy a backup generator and several computers that we won't have to pay for out of general fund now. So congratulations to Landon for that work. TMG. How many calls have we had this week on TMG, John?
Several.
How many visits have we had from people wanting to talk about TMG this week?
Several.
Okay. We think what's happening is everybody knows it's about to go up for tax sale. We have a hearing coming up before the judge who will set the amount that it will actually be sold at tax sale for. What I can tell you right this second is they owe the city about $900,000 in back taxes. They haven't paid taxes since 2011. They have managed to appeal and delay and delay and delay and appeal again long enough that the building has basically crumbled away, and very little of it would be salvageable. So it will be sold for back taxes. We hope to have a date for a tax sale in the near future, meaning hopefully within months. And we also hope that it gets in the hands of a developer or someone that actually has the money to either restore part of it or do a development there that will be productive, have something on the tax roll, have something good for Sweetwater. Everybody always wants to know about TMG. I answer questions from alumni probably once a month about what's going on there. So we're hoping that something good happens there in 2025. Also in 2025, we have a city election in June. We will actually be electing our first female mayor in June of 2025. Angie Kyle was the only person with a qualified petition who is running for mayor. We are super excited to welcome her to the team. And we have 2 commissioner positions that are open. Incumbent Jim Stutz is running for one of them. He's a current police commissioner. And then 2 citizens are also running, Cotton Upton and Brandon Lovingood. So good luck to all of them. We've already had a meeting with all the candidates to give them information and kind of update them on some of these projects and things. And I think they're all going to be great candidates. So please, everyone, get out and vote in the June election. It's that second Thursday in June, and there'll be early voting in May and in June. So please get out and vote for the city election. John, let's see. We have a budget workshop at the end of April.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just a lot of work. So if anybody's interested in the city budget, if you want to see how that process goes, if you've got real strong opinions one way or the other, show up to that budget meeting. It's April 28th, I think, is the budget workshop. It's the last Monday in April. We have copies of the proposed budget here at City Hall that you can get. Budgets from prior years, audits from prior years, all of that is posted on our website at sweetwatertn.gov. What else, John? What else did we talk about this morning?
Let's see. We talked a little bit about the Duck Park Bridge downtown in the Duck Park and kind of what the plans are there. We've had a few calls and questions about that and if that's moving forward. And I'll let you speak to that if you want to. But basically where that's at is we've had some engineering studies done just to see if the bridge or the framework of the bridge is actually stable. And that we got good news on that the piers and the pylons that hold the bridge up are actually stable. They're in good shape. Now it's just a matter of what do we need to do or what do we want to do to either repair or replace that bridge. And so that's kind of what the commissioners will be talking about. They'll be looking at cost, what that would cost to take on a project that size. And it may sound simple, but it's not always just that simple. You have to factor in things like ADA compliance if you take that down and build a new bridge. And there are certain things with it being in the floodway. You know, it's in a floodplain. Anything that's done in the floodway or along a creek or a stream involves extensive permitting and things like that through the state. So they'll weigh all their options as far as how to proceed with that. And then, at the end of the day, the other option would just be simply to replace what's damaged on the bridge, which, wouldn't involve as much financial, issues there to just simply replace, some rotting boards and things like that. So, yeah.
So we want the bridge to be safe, but we also understand it's an important connector that you all like going to the Duck Park and walking over the recreation complex. Just as a note, it's not as convenient, but there is actually another access that you can walk. You can cut through that fence that runs up onto Old Highway 68. It's a gated fence there at the back of the Parks and Recreation complex. You can actually walk up there to Old Highway 68 and cross the bridge that the traffic goes on. It's a little sketchy. It's a lot of traffic on that bridge, so I can understand why you might not want to cross that as a pedestrian, but there is still access there, and that, of course, is not ADA compliant either. So if you're in a wheelchair or a stroller, the best thing to do is just to walk to the bridge, turn around, and go back to the complex until we get that bridge reopened. Even if we do get it reopened, it's not going to be ADA accessible. It's not flat enough to be ADA accessible, so it's always going to be a little tough to push a stroller or wheelchair over that. So we hope we can get that amenity open so that you all can use it again, but we do need to make it safe before we can do it. What else, John? What's going on? Feels like there's a lot going on.
A lot going on. Big's house. We did have a mason come in and do some tuck pointing and brickwork. That was the initial step there, was basically to assess. We had a structural engineer come in and do some studies there just to tell us, what they recommend as far as stabilizing the house or seeing how stable that it was. And then also approving that brickwork. And so the mason, I believe, has finished up with the tuck pointing and the brickwork down there and removing some of that paint and layers of paint that were there from before.
And that first phase of the project was not funded by a grant. That was just the city voting to go ahead and spend the money to protect the brick from crumbling any further. If you feel strongly about the Biggs house, if you have an opinion about that, feel free to email someone at City Hall or one of your elected officials or talk to one of them. That is a project that's never going to make financial sense. We don't even have an end goal for what we want to do with that building. But if you think it's important that we preserve that history, it is the oldest standing structure in Sweetwater. I think those elected officials need to hear that and know that there's support for it from the public. Or if you feel strongly that we don't need to put any more money into it, you should tell them that too. But they do need some public input from that, I think. Also, the next phase would be to try and get it on the National Historic Registry. It's not on the registry. It's not easy to get on the registry. Congratulations to Brent Miller, who just had his home placed on the registry. I know personally how many hoops he had to jump through to get that done and how hard that application was. And I don't know that the Biggs house will qualify. You have to be more than just old. You have to be significant in some way. So we got to really pinpoint the significance. But we've got some great partners at East Tennessee Development District and at East Tennessee Tourism. We have some real friends there that are trying to help us find grant funding for that before we move forward with the next stage on the Biggs house. What else, John?
I feel like that's a lot. I don't really know of anything else that's out there that we field calls on daily or weekly. So, yeah.
We are about to launch Text My Gov, which is a new application where you will actually be, as a citizen, able to text in things to the city. You'll be able to get building permits that way and report codes enforcement issues. So, John, that's all you.
Yeah.
You'll be able to tell City Hall about stop signs that are down or any kind of hazards in the road or potholes or things. So we hope to have that technology up and going by the end of summer. So we're excited about that. The board just recently voted on that. Anyway, lots going on. If you have questions, as always, call City Hall. We never mind answering questions. We would much rather get the truth to you than whatever story is made up on Facebook. It's 423-337-6979 to call City Hall, or all of our emails are on our website at sweetwatertn.gov. Thank you for being a great city. It's our pleasure to serve you all. And what else, John? Send us out.
That's it. I mean, I don't have anything else to add other than, condolences to the UT football program and the loss of Nico, and Roll Tide.
Please. Wow. We can edit the last of that, right, Landon? Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.